to reiterate, my name is Tia Fabian. I'm your content manager for Geek Vibes Nation. We are talking Marvel's Echo, a 5-part mini series, which is the first in the Marvel Spotlight thing that they're going to do. And Echo revolves around the character Maya Lopez, played by Alaqua Cox. She debuted as this character in the Hawkeye show, which is probably my favorite show on Disney Plus when it comes to the MCU, and I would have never thought that I would have said that ever. Let me move that forward more. If you know me, I was not a big fan of Hawkeye or anything, and the Hawkeye series was definitely the series that I was least excited for. And lo and behold, the series became my favorite on Disney Plus. But anyway, Alaqua Cox premiered as Maya Lopez on that. And now we have this little mini series, Echo, to kind of delve further into her character. As I said before, there's going to be spoilers in this review. I want to talk about it. Listen, I was excited about this show in particular because not only did I really like the character from the Hawkeye series, but they had already told us beforehand that Charlie Cox would be returning as Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio would be returning as Wilson Fisk. Now, let me start by saying that Charlie Cox's cameo in this is all but like 2 seconds. So if you're expecting more, please temper your expectations. But it was a great cameo. It's in literally episode 1. And it is in this really great like fight sequence with Maya Lopez that I really enjoyed. And I'm not gonna break it down every single episode, but episode 1, the first like half of the episode, I wouldn't say it was clunky per se, but not having the right words to describe it, I will say a little clunky because it's essentially trying to catch you up from the Hawkeye series. It's like intertwining original scenes of Maya and her upbringing and everything with scenes that we saw from Hawkeye so that you remember essentially this character premiered in Hawkeye. This is why she's doing what she's doing is because of the events that happened in the Hawkeye series. So, but once it gets to like the present time and we take a beat and we follow Maya, we go back to her hometown in Oklahoma and we find out more about her and the characters in her life. That's when it gets really good. Now, again, the fight sequence between Maya and Matt Murdock is in that first half hour of the first episode, and it is really good. I and like not to go on a whole tangent, but I am of the mind that some people don't want this show to be good. They don't want Marvel to be good anymore because obviously videos where it's titled Marvel is doomed and all that do a lot better on YouTube. And certainly, let me say, I'm not a Marvel apologist. I do love the MCU, but I can even admit that there's been a lot post Endgame that I have not liked. For a while, I wasn't even necessarily that excited for a lot of Marvel projects just because I didn't like a lot of things that were coming out. But this show is good. This show could definitely fit within the Marvel Netflix universe, and that is a huge compliment because we absolutely loved all of those shows, right? Daredevil, The Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. I even liked Iron Fist a little, but I think I just mostly liked it for Ward Meacham. But anyway, this show definitely could have fit in within that universe. I thought that it was very grounded while still being part of the broader MCU. Um, the fight sequences were great, in my personal opinion. Are they the level of, say, like the hallway scenes from Daredevil? No, but they're still good. I thought that there was a really nice like balance between everything and just seeing Daredevil have that brief interaction with Maya just got me giddy. I really liked it. So that was good. But again, if you are expecting there to be more Daredevil, temper your expectations. But again, still good, and it's still nice to know that these characters exist within the bigger Marvel Cinematic Universe, because it makes those shows from Netflix canon. That makes me happy, because Frank Castle was a huge player in season 2 of Daredevil. So if Daredevil the show is canon, John Bernthal's Frank Castle is canon. So it makes me very, very happy. But moving on. So as I said, we are now caught up by the second half of the first episode. Essentially, Maya's father got involved in Wilson Fisk's orb and was killed by Wilson Fisk. Maya doesn't know this at first. Wilson Fisk takes her under his wing, helps, mold her into the person that she is today. Then through the Hawkeye series, through Clint, we find out that it wasn't Clint who killed the father. It was by Wilson Fisk's demand. Maya, in her mind, thinks that she killed Wilson Fisk. And then afterward, now we are caught up 5 months since the end of Hawkeye has happened. And Maya is back in her hometown trying to push back against the remnants of Wilson Fisk's organization. Okay, we're caught up. I, first of all, again, I love the groundedness on top of the mysticism that you get in the show, right? There's a lot going on in 5 short episodes. I mean, the first episode or two is pretty long, but the last episode is only about like 35 minutes. So just keep that in mind. And I really enjoyed when Maya went back to her town in Oklahoma. There's a lot going on with Maya. Her father clearly wasn't very liked by her mother's side of the family, who essentially see him as the reason why Maya's mother was killed, which I guess, yes, he was. And then in turn, Maya kind of felt the brunt of that when the father took Maya to live in New York. And then we see that the grandmother has never been ultra close with Maya, because it's just a reminder of what happened to the mother. And Maya at first is a very like stoic character, right? She's not very warm at all. She goes back to her hometown. She interacts with probably one of the best like side characters, Biscuits, um, who I believe is a cousin of hers, and he is just so entertaining. And she's kind of a little cold to him because that's how she is. She is keeping people at arm's length, right? But honestly, he's like one of the best side characters I've seen in like a show. I think he's hilarious. Honestly, I want more of Biscuits. But the people in Maya's life love her, right? Biscuits love her. Her cousin Bonnie loves her. I mean, she's super upset, Bonnie, when she finds out that Maya is in town and wasn't ever planning on in seeing her. So it's nice seeing the interactions there. We get this feeling of this town. It's very tight knit. It's a huge, like it's not huge. Sorry, it's a close community, right? And it's nice seeing these players all interact with Maya, but interact with each other. It feels at times that you can't believe that there's a huge, because Wilson Fisk's organization is massive out of New York. And it's almost a little hard to believe that something like his would operate out of a town like the town that they're in Oklahoma. But who cares, right? If that's what brings Maya back, and that was more of an explanation as to how Maya's father was even involved in Fisk's organization. It's probably something that people who are nitpicking would criticize. I don't really care particularly. It's fine, right? If that's how you connect the two, whatever. So yeah, you have that. I just have to give it to like the actress who played Maya. I think she did a really good job in playing this character who, because of what she's gone through, not only losing her mother, being brought up essentially around crime, and then also blaming herself for the death of her mother, as well as feeling as if others are blaming her, has made her a bit of a colder person. but through, say, the love of others around her, she starts to open up more, and sees that her strength is not by pushing people away, but in fact letting people in. And I enjoyed that. Um, the actress is, and I hope that this is the appropriate way to say it, the actress is deaf. And so obviously American Sign Language was very big in this show. And what the show did really well is that when we are in Maya's mind, when we are essentially experiencing her POV, we're experiencing it, right? The sound softens. There's a moment, and not to jump fully ahead to the end of the show, but there's a moment where Maya is confronting Wilson Fisk, and instead of us hearing what Wilson Fisk is saying, we're seeing it through her perception. So we don't hear anything. And we're experiencing that as Maya. I really like that a lot. I just liked when the show did little things like that. Um, and so, as I just mentioned, Wilson Fisk. So obviously, Wilson Fisk is not dead. He did not die from Maya shooting him at the end of Hawkeye. Vincent D'Onofrio is such this like amazing presence as Wilson Fisk. I mean, I know Vincent D'Onofrio has been around for a very long time. I've seen a lot of his work throughout the years, but I truly don't believe that he has acted better than when he acts as Kingpin. I mean, what he brings to it, it felt as if I was right back in Daredevil, right? He was very good in the Hawkeye show, but this felt more like him, right? That, oh God, that like scheming of his, right? Where you want to believe that he's being heartfelt, but just the little things. There's a moment where after the father is killed, he tells Maya that he lost his father as well, and his father was killed, and it left a huge hole in his heart. And you, as the audience who have watched the Daredevil series, are going, yeah, you killed him. But he's so convincing that if you didn't know that he did that, or you almost forget that he did that because it's so sincere. Um, I love this little background of knowing that Fisk was essentially an uncle to Maya. I mean, there's this really great scene where Maya gets out of school and she wants some ice cream, and the person who has a little ice cream cart is being quite an ass to her because she can't hear. And so Fisk, seeing this disrespect, gets out of his car and beats the guy into a bloody pulp, which is so on brand for Fisk. If anyone says that that's not on brand for Fisk, let's us remember that in season 1 of Daredevil, he literally like, I don't know if YouTube demonetizes stuff like this, they're very sensitive, but Wilson Fisk literally like took some dude's head off with a car door because the dude disrespected his date. Um, so I think that Fisk beating this ice cream man up to a bloody pulp for being disrespectful to Maya, who he considers like a niece, is very on brand. But so Fisk is wearing this white suit, which is very in line for him in the comics, and something that they introduced in the last season of Daredevil. And there's blood all over him, and he makes a call because he's saying, I want a new jacket because I don't want Maya to see this, right? He's still trying to shield her, but she sees it anyway. And at first, Fisk thinks that Maya's going to be scared. And instead, Maya runs up and starts kicking the ice cream dude as well. And it kind of shows Fisk that this is someone that they're like almost cut from the same cloth. And it's almost like nice, even though you know that Fisk is a manipulative person and that he is bad and that essentially you are not safe around him. And if there was any indication that you like, if there was any doubt that you are not safe around Fisk, another great scene that I liked was Fisk has this ASL interpreter the whole time. And then towards the end of, I guess, his mentorship of Maya, he tells her that they must trust each other. They can only trust each other. This is her final test. He dismisses the sign language interpreter, which I instantly knew was a bad thing. And then you see one of Fisk's men walking her around the corner, and there's just plastic everywhere. Of course, you know. And then the scene goes back to Fisk eating, and you hear the sign language interpreter begging, saying that she's not going to tell anyone. And you obviously hear a gunshot, and you know that she's dead. It's just a great scene. I mean, Fisk really stood out in this. And I mean, if you can make an argument and say, like, hey, it was Maya's show, and obviously Fisk stood out, this happens all the time in everything, whether it's Marvel, DC, whatever. The bad guy who is very compelling is always going to stand out more than maybe the good person. I think that, and then when you have someone like Vincent D'Onofrio playing Wilson Fisk, that's just going to happen. So anyway, um, so I really like that. But going back to Maya, I mean, her journey is a very good one in the fact that, as I said, it's grounded, but then we also have this mysticism slash I don't know how to describe it really, but there are scenes in the show all throughout that are going back to, say, old legends. They're showing her ancestors, and it's this really nice connection that Maya is not just one person. She is the accumulation of the people who have come before her ancestors, the women of her tribe. And at the finale, there's just this really awesome like scene where it's like they're all coming to like support her and put power through her and everything. And I really like that because at first when the show started, I'm expecting this very like, let me bring it back. I did not watch any trailer of Echo. I knew I was going to watch it regardless, right? I like the character from Hawkeye. I like Vincent D'Onofrio. I like Charlie Cox. I was going to watch this no matter what. So I didn't watch any trailer. I had no expectations. But I thought that this was going to be a very like ground level, street level type of character and story. So when the show starts off in this very beautiful cave and things, it was a little shocking, not shocking, but a little surprising to me. But I think the show did a really good job in calling back to these moments throughout the 5 episodes. Just it's sprinkled in, and I think it tied itself well to Echo. I think it was a really good show. See, that's the thing is that I went on like YouTube to try to see other reviews because you don't have to like a show, but I wanted to see more constructive criticism than what I actually saw from a lot of YouTube videos, but I very much enjoyed it. I wanted more, obviously. I do like the idea of a simple 5 episode spotlight type of thing. I think that there's a lot of characters that would do well for. But after getting to know this character and seeing her and her acting and what she represents and how she carries herself and how well fleshed out the people around her were, I did want more. Is it a perfect show? No, because it is a little too short. The final like fight scene it's both a little anticlimactic but also satisfying at the same time. Like it was cool seeing Maya using these powers to essentially like she was trying to get Fisk into her world, right? She was trying to tell him, like, you don't need to be this, you don't need to have this pain, and this is Fisk, right? And I like that he wasn't redeemed. I'm just saying, if you were looking for some like bang bang shoot 'em up like type of like fight finale, that's not it. But it was very good for Wilson Fisk's character. I mean, I almost felt bad for him when she kind of like brought him back into the memories of his parents fighting. I was like, ooh, that's traumatic. But I like that Maya still had humanity for Fisk despite everything, right? But it was that's what I mean when it was both anticlimactic because it wasn't like a huge fight scene, but it was also satisfying because it was cool to see Maya standing with the people who had come before her, using powers, and also still trying to get Fisk um, to come to come to the light side. Essentially, if I'm going to use some Star Wars words here, but I like that. I thought that was cool because she still referred to Fisk as her uncle, and it's like despite everything, she did still grow up with this man. And there's a part of her that maybe feels like if she went through all this and she can be a good person, then he could still be a good person despite going through everything that he went through. But this is Wilson Fisk. We need him as a bad guy, a nice complex bad guy, right? Um, what else was I gonna say? Ooh, again, the side characters were great, right? Biscuits, Bonnie, Henry, Chula, Scully, all actors that you've seen before, right? Like, I just want to take a small little thing because I always have to mention American Gods no matter what. Devery Jacobs plays Bonnie, the cousin, and while her role was not very large, she was in American Gods, and I know that she's been in other things since, but I love American Gods, so it was nice seeing an American Gods alone. Just want to throw that out there. I like the character Henry. Again, Biscuits, there's I love that in this town in Oklahoma, they still have like a rollerblading rink and it's popular amongst the kids. I like that. It makes the town breathable and livable and realistic. There are towns out there like that. America is not just big New York City or glamorous California or beach-filled Miami and everything. It is sometimes a small little town where people are still dancing to the 90s in a roller skating rink, and I like that. But there is a good fight scene there. This whole like episode essentially with Henry, one of his workers at the rink, has worked for Fisk or something like that, and bringing in these bad guys into the town after Maya. And it's I'm not going to go into the whole thing because you should watch it yourself, but it's a good episode. um and it was pretty bloody, honestly. And I think this is where Marvel is kind of experimenting with having more mature content because there was definitely a few scenes that I was like, oh, that is pretty bloody that I don't think we would have seen in a movie in the MCU. So that was interesting to watch. I liked how it built up everything, how it switched back and forth between Maya's POV and what was going on around them. The nameless bad guy, I mean, was pretty generic, but he served a point and he was definitely a bad guy. Um, and the employee definitely died pretty gnarly. So I mean, again, Marvel kind of showed right now that they're not afraid to get a little darker, a little grittier. And I enjoy that because it gives me a lot of hope for the Daredevil Reborn show that's going to be coming out. But I wish that I wish that Echo was getting better reviews. I think it certainly does not deserve to be referred to as like another She-Hulk. I'm sorry, I did not like She-Hulk. I mean, for did not like She-Hulk at all. And I don't believe that Echo should be put in the same category as that because it certainly wasn't at all. And I really like how Maya gets her name Echo in it. It was a very nice scene. The whole thing is good. The actors did a phenomenal job. This show definitely centers a lot around and I apologize if I mispronounce anything, but it centers a lot around the Choctaw tribe. And even at the end of the show, Marvel thanks the Choctaw tribe from Oklahoma in letting them essentially tell their stories. And I thought that was really cool to do. So it's a nice story. It's grounded, has a lot of things. Maya is multifaceted. Um, I would love to see more. I don't know if Echo is getting a second season. But I certainly hope that this isn't the last time that we see her character because it felt so breathable and so livable, this story and this world, that it would be nice to see. I certainly wouldn't want because even though she's essentially stepped away from crime and everything, I certainly wouldn't want this to be the end of her. Um, I, Maybe we'll see her a little in Daredevil Reborn would be kind of cool, but I liked it. I liked Echo. If I had to give it a ranking off the top of my head, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good watch. I kind of like that they dropped all the episodes at once as opposed to doing the weekly thing. And it was a nice extension to this character that we saw in Hawkeye. It was nice to see Wilson Fisk back to being Wilson Fisk. It was nice seeing Daredevil's little cameo. The fighting was good. The scenery was good. It was great acting. I liked it. I really have nothing bad to say other than the fact that I wish that it was longer and that maybe I wish there was a little more fight scenes in it. This is definitely a story based show, and I think that's fine. Um, yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna take another sip of this water because my throat is killing me. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of criticism to be had because people seem to have a lot of criticism about Marvel. And again, let me point out in saying that I can understand a lot of criticism of Marvel post Endgame, but I feel as if this is a show that maybe people are not giving a chance, or you know, they're not giving it a chance. And obviously, people have hated on Marvel for a while, and you have people who think that Marvel has sold out or whatever, whatever. I mean, obviously, there's criticism that kind of is a little, again, just mean spirited for the sake of being mean spirited. Stuff like that gets a lot of views, and hating on things that are popular get a lot of views. But I think if someone had like legitimate, like constructive criticism, that would make sense. Not Nothing is ever perfect. I'm sure there are certain things that could have been improved in the show, but from face value, I enjoyed the show. I thought that Maya was a great character. I thought that the actress did a phenomenal job with her. Um, I liked the story. I liked everything. What can I say? I know I'm going to keep repeating that, but it's just there's sometimes this like pressure that you have to go so in depth with what you liked, but at the end of the day, sometimes just saying I like something is enough. And I liked it. That's it. Wilson Fisk looked great. The actress looked great. I mean, the acting was great. I thought the fight choreography, I saw someone criticizing the fight choreography, and I was like, wow, have we seen the same thing? Because this is pretty good fight choreography, but hey, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So that is Echo. It almost feels a little sucky that it's over. Again, I really wanted more. I want to get back to like really good Marvel days, right? Um, and I think that I hope that people are just open to things like Daredevil Reborn and stuff like that because again, it almost feels like sometimes people just want these things to fail, but I have a lot of confidence in things like Daredevil Reborn, even just like the little bit that we saw of Matt Murdock in Echo was really good. The costume was good, and it felt like him. So very excited about that. What is upcoming? Actually, let's take a look since we're on live right now. And we can do things like that. What's the next? Let's Google it. What's the next Marvel project? Oh wow, Deadpool 3 comes out in July. Agatha Dark. So here's my hot take. I am not That is one show that I'm not really looking forward to, the Agatha show. I mean, yeah, she was a good character in WandaVision, but I really don't know if she deserves her own show. I don't know if that's a little bit of a hot take for me to say, but I'm mostly just looking I'm just mostly looking forward to the Daredevil one. That I'm like really pumped for. It's a weird thing that you know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking about the show, and this has nothing to do with Echo. We're just more so going to chit chat for a little bit, and then I'm going to probably wrap up because I obviously don't want this to go too long, and this was my Echo review. But I was thinking about Inhumans the other day, right? Remember that really bad show? But I really like Anson Mount as Black Bolt. And I know we got a little bit of him in the Multiverse of Madness. I kind of want him back. I think it would be really cool to see him reprise the role. I don't know if he would. I think that what we saw in the Multiverse of Madness was just kind of like cameos, considering like John Krasinski won't be, um, Reed Richards, even though he was in the movie and stuff like that. But I don't know. That was very, very random. I know. My apologies. But here's my question. Does anyone know like a good audiobook that centers around the Inhumans? Not a graphical novel, but like an audiobook. I've been really getting to audiobooks lately. I would just love to like listen to such things or whatever. There's an audiobook coming out and it's a what if Loki story. And I am super pumped for that to come out. I have that already pre-ordered. So make sure you check that out. And speaking about what if, I actually haven't checked out the second season of What If yet. I'm kind of waiting for like a day to just sit down and binge all the episodes. See that it's not that I'm not a Marvel fan anymore. It's just it's my level of excitement has kind of differed. In the past, it was like I would never have let a Marvel movie go without seeing it like day one, right? Every Marvel movie prior to Avengers Endgame, I'm there first day or even with the screeners, seeing it a day before. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't go to the theaters, right? So I'm waiting for things to come out on Disney Plus. And then certain things I'm like, that could wait. That could wait. I want to wait till I'm in the mood to watch it. And I think that's also maybe been my problem is I haven't been like necessarily in the mood to watch some Marvel stuff. And so maybe that's why I don't like it or something. So I wait till I'm in the mood and then I watch it. I was definitely in the mood to watch Echo, so I was excited to see that, but I was not that I'm not in the mood to watch What If because I actually thought that that was probably one of the better things to come out of the post Endgame Marvel era. Their introduction into animation I thought was really great in season one. But I think that I just want to be more in the mood to sit down and watch season two. I've been really into rewatching Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. So as you can see, two conflicting things. If I'm into medieval fantasy with dragons and everything, I'm not necessarily in the mood for Marvel. So that's just kind of where I'm coming at right now. Um, all that being said, as I said before, I would give Marvel's Echo an 8 out of 10. It was a solid 5 episodes to watch. Who knows what kind of broader effect it will have on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm almost okay if it doesn't have a broader effect. That's fine, honestly. Um, maybe that was what worked so well with the Defenders verse is that while we knew it existed within the MCU, it didn't have a broader effect. There wasn't as much as a pressure to make sure that they need to tie in. We knew it existed within the MCU and that was it. And maybe that's all we need in this. But I cannot wait for more of Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk. Please make sure that you checked out the mid-credit scene in Echo because it is seeming that Fisk is going to be running for mayor, and I guarantee that that is going to seep into Daredevil Reborn. So make sure that you actually wait until the end, not the end credit scene, sorry, the mid-credit scene to see that. But my throat is getting hoarse, and I am a firm believer that if you are just repeating the same things, it's probably time to end. But we do have a written review for Echo that I'm sure described why it is good more eloquently than I did. Please make sure that you check that out. And I will make sure to link that down below in the description. I did not write it, my colleague Lane did, but again, I will link it down in the description. Make sure you check that out. If you liked Echo, please let me know. If you did not like Echo or you had some criticism towards it, please let me know as well. But as I always say, keep it constructive and keep it kind in the comments. And let me know if you were excited for Daredevil Reborn, because I can't. There's been so many teasing of Charlie Cox in this, and we've seen him in now Spider-Man No Way Home, She-Hulk, and Echo, and I'm just ready for him to get his own show again. And I am praying that we get some Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, but that's maybe just wishful thinking. If you're not subscribed already, please make sure that you are subscribed. We would very much like that. Please give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, guys, I'm Tia, your content manager. This is Lady, that's Sunny, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.